So, if you're a student or you've just graduated, listen up. The way you get an entry-level job has been totally, completely re-engineered. Seriously, the old rulebook is gone, and there's a new invisible gatekeeper in charge. Today, we're going to break down exactly how AI has flipped the job market on its head, and more importantly, what you need to do to win. And look, that's not me being dramatic. The head of the International Monetary Fund called AI's impact a tsunami. We're not talking about a small ripple of change here. This is a massive wave, and it is crashing right where young professionals are trying to start their careers. So, what does a tsunami actually look like in the job market? Well, it looks like this number. Between 2021 and 2024, the number of entry-level job postings dropped by over 11%. And this isn't just some temporary dip, a bad quarter. Nope, this is a permanent structural shift. Those classic learner roles, they're just vanishing. The reason this is all happening is actually pretty simple, but it's also profound. The person, or really the process, that decides who even gets an interview is just not the same anymore. All those old methods of getting your foot in the door, they're getting blocked by a brand new barrier. And understanding that barrier is the absolute first step to getting past it. All right, so let's pull back the curtain on this new gatekeeper. It's time to see exactly what we're all up against. An invisible, AI-driven filter that is standing between you and your first real job. To give you a sense of the scale of this challenge, 75%. That is the number of resumes that get flat out rejected by software before a human being ever sees them. Think about that. 3 out of every 4 applications are filtered out by an algorithm. Your first audience isn't a recruiter anymore. It's a machine. And this table right here, it just shows how much the world has changed in just a handful of years. Let's just walk through it. Job volume, it's gone from stable to shrinking. The required skills have moved from, basic digital literacy to applied AI fluency. The value of a degree, it's gone from being the main gatekeeper to, more of a baseline credential. And the big one, experience, has gone from we'll train you to you better have it already. Every single pillar of the old system has shifted. Okay, so now that we get the problem, let's go under the hood. To get past this new gatekeeper, you've got to understand how it thinks. The systems running the show today are light years ahead of the old days. It used to be all about keyword stuffing, just matching exact phrases. But the new AI uses something called semantic search. It doesn't just look for words, it actually understands meaning, context, and the relationships between ideas. So it knows that client relations is kind of the same thing as account management, even if you don't use those exact words. So here's how it actually works in simple terms. The AI converts the job description into a mathematical thing called a vector. Then it does the exact same thing to your resume. And after that, it just calculates how similar they are. The closer your resume's meaning is to the job description's meaning, the higher you get ranked. It's a match based on substance, not just buzzwords. And this right here is the core idea you have to get. Semantic understanding. It means your resume can't just be a laundry list of skills anymore. It has to tell a story. So instead of just listing Python, you need to describe how you used Python to get a specific result. That context, that's what the algorithm is built to find and reward. And hey, it's not just about resumes. Platforms like HireVue are now analyzing your video interviews. And they're not looking at your facial expressions anymore. That's old news. They are transcribing your words. They're scanning to see if you use structured thinking like the STAR method, if you use specific vocabulary that signals problem solving, and if your answers are actually relevant to what the job requires. Okay, so we've laid out the algorithmic challenge. It's a big one. But now let's pivot to the solution. If the old signals of value, like where you went to school, are fading, what are the new currencies that these AI gatekeepers and the human hiring managers actually care about? I mean, just look at this drop. Back in 2019, almost 3/4 of employers were using GPA as a key screening tool. Fast forward to 2026, and it's projected to be less than half. This is all the proof you need that those old signals of just academic achievement, they're losing their power and fast. A great GPA alone just isn't going to get you noticed anymore. This side-by-side comparison makes the shift crystal clear. The old school resume was all about pedigree, your degree, your GPA, your job titles. That's becoming obsolete. The modern resume, the 2026 resume, is all about proof. It leads with a link to your portfolio, it shows off a stack of different experiences, and it highlights real tangible outcomes. It shows what you can do, not just where you've been. And that brings us to the 2 new currencies of value that you have to understand. First, there's the portfolio imperative. You have to show your work, not just talk about it. And second is the micro-experience stack. So instead of one big summer internship, you're building a collection of smaller, paid projects that prove you have a range of skills. These are the assets that signal you can actually get things done in the real world. So how do you actually build this new kind of profile? This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's get into the playbook, a concrete, step-by-step plan designed to make you the kind of candidate that both the algorithms and the recruiters are desperately looking for. Right. Career prep is no longer something you cram into your final year. Not anymore. It's a 4-year process. It kicks off with exploration and figuring out your skills early on. Then it moves into building tangible proof that you have those skills. Then you focus on optimizing your application for AI, and finally, it all comes together in a targeted career launch. So in your first couple of years, the goal is to explore and to build. You can use platforms like Forage to do virtual work simulations from top companies. Then you can use a site like Parker Dewey to get paid for short-term projects. And, this is crucial, start a project of your own. Analyze a data set, build a little app, create a marketing plan. This is how you generate the raw material for that portfolio we were talking about. Now, as you get closer to graduation, the focus shifts to optimization. Use tools like JobScan to see how your resume actually scores against a real job description. Practice those weird game-based assessments that companies are using now, and most importantly, stop the spray and pray approach of sending out hundreds of resumes. Target your applications, tailor them for the jobs you actually want. And all of this whole playbook, it leads to one final powerful idea: Superagency. This is the endgame. You're not trying to beat the AI. You're trying to become the kind of candidate who uses AI as a tool to become smarter, faster, and more capable. You're showing employers that you aren't someone who's going to be replaced by AI, but someone who will leverage it to deliver incredible value. So that's the new landscape. The path to a great entry-level job isn't locked, but the gatekeepers are different and the keys have changed. The question you've got to ask yourself is this: are you still fumbling around with the old keys, or are you forging the new digital ones that you need to open the door?